The family of the noble prophet Muhammad. The family of the noble prophet is renowned by the name Hashemi, after his great-grandfather Hashim bin Abd Manaf. It seems appropriate to briefly present the details of some of the notable individuals from the family of the noble prophet. 1. Qusay bin Kilab. Qusay bin Kilab was an ancestor of the prophet, 5 generations before him. He was the one who not only reclaimed the custodianship of the Kaaba from the Banu Qaza, but also organized and united his tribe, Banu Ismail, and the Quraysh tribe. Through this, he transformed Mecca into a structured and organized city-state. The custodianship of the Kaaba was such a privilege that it granted Qusay bin Kilab and his descendants a special leadership status and immense respect, not just in Mecca but across the Arabian Peninsula. Qusay bin Kilab proved himself worthy of this honor. Qusay bin Kilab held an absolute monarchy-like authority over the city-state of Mecca. He not only rebuilt the Kaaba after it had fallen into disrepair but also, for the first time, added a roof made of date palm leaves. In addition, he took steps to reform the administration of the Kaaba. Additionally, he constructed a building near the Kaaba called Dar al-Nadwa, where discussions and decisions were made on various matters involving the leaders and elders of Banu Ismail and other tribes of Mecca. The Quraysh held gatherings or prepared for wars in this building, and trade caravans would depart from here. Marriages and other ceremonies were also conducted in this building. Furthermore, to manage various state affairs, Qusay bin Kilab established 6 different divisions, distributing their management among his sons. After his death, his grandchildren expanded these 6 divisions into 10 and divided them among themselves through mutual understanding. 2. Hazrat Hashim bin Abd Manaf. Hazrat Hashim bin Abd Manaf was the grandson of Qusay bin Kilab. When an agreement was reached between Abd Manaf and the Banu Abd al-Dar regarding the division of duties, Hazrat Hashim was entrusted with the role of providing water and hospitality to the pilgrims, known as seerah and rafada. Hazrat Hashim was a very wealthy and highly esteemed figure. His original name was Amr, but since he was responsible for arranging the food and drink for the pilgrims, he used to serve them a special type of Arab dish called hashim. In Arabic, hashim refers to breaking bread into a broth. During a famine in Mecca, Hazrat Hashim arranged this broth for all the people of Mecca, which earned him the title Hashim, a name by which history remembers him. His descendants became known as the most prestigious tribe of the Quraysh, Banu Hashim. Hazrat Hashim initiated the Quraysh trade caravans and made agreements with the Byzantine Empire, allowing the Quraysh to trade in Byzantine-controlled regions without paying customs duties. He was also successful in making similar agreements with the king of Abyssinia, which greatly benefited the Quraysh. As a result, their trade caravans began traveling to regions such as Syria, Abyssinia, Turkey, and Yemen. On one of his trade journeys, Hazrat Hashim traveled to Syria. During the journey, he stopped in Yathrib, which later became Medina, or Madinat al-Rasul. There, he married a woman from the Banu Najjar tribe named Salma bint Amr. He stayed for a few days, then left for Syria, leaving his wife in her family's home while she was pregnant. He likely intended to bring her back to Mecca after the journey. However, shortly after their marriage, Hazrat Hashim passed away during his travels in the area of Gaza, Palestine. 3. Hazrat Abdul Muttalib. In the previous episode, we discussed Hazrat Hashim's journey to Syria, his marriage in Yathrib, and his passing away in Palestine. After his death, in 497 CE, his wife Salma gave birth to a son. Since the child's hair had white streaks, she named him Shayba, and he was raised in Yathrib at her parents' house. Later, this child became famous as Abdul Muttalib. For a long time, no one from the Hashemite family knew of his existence. After Hazrat Hashim's death, the responsibility of the seerah, water provision for pilgrims, and rafada, hospitality for pilgrims, was passed to his brother Muttalib. Muttalib was a respected and noble figure among his people, known for his generosity. The Quraysh had given him the title Fayyad due to his generosity. When Shayba, later known as Abdul Muttalib, reached the age of 7 or 8, Muttalib became aware of him and went to fetch him. When he saw Shayba near Yathrib, he was moved to tears. He embraced him and took him on his camel, intending to return to Mecca. However, Shayba refused to go without his mother's permission. Muttalib then sought permission from his mother, and after receiving it, he brought Sheba Abdul Muttalib to Mecca. The people of Mecca, upon seeing him, assumed he was a slave of Muttalib, but Muttalib clarified that he was his nephew, the son of his brother Hashim. After Muttalib's death during a trip to Yemen, Abdul Muttalib inherited the positions of leadership and responsibility for the Kaaba. However, Nufail bin Abd Manaf, a rival, attempted to seize these positions. Abdul Muttalib sought the help of the Quraysh, but they were unresponsive. He then sought help from his maternal uncle, Abu Sa'd, who came with 80 horsemen. They confronted Nufail bin Abd Manaf, and Abu Sa'd warned him that if he did not return Abdul Muttalib's rights, he would be killed. Nufail relented, and the matter was resolved with the Quraysh's leaders as witnesses. However, after Abu Sa'd returned to Medina, Nufail bin Abd Manaf forged an alliance with Abd Shams bin Abd Manaf, the ancestor of Banu Umayyah, and began stirring up opposition against Abdul Muttalib. The Banu Qaza tribe supported Banu Hashim, and at Dar al-Nadwa, they pledged their allegiance to Abdul Muttalib. As a result, the leadership of the Quraysh remained with Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib earned such high esteem among his people that no one among his ancestors had attained such status. His people loved him deeply, and he was highly respected. For Hazrat Abdullah, father of the Prophet, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib had 10 sons and 6 daughters. Their names were sons, Harith, Zubair, Abu Talib, Abdullah, Hamza, R.A., Abu Lahab, Gadak, Makam, Safar, and Abbas, R.A. Daughters, al-Hakim, also known as Beta, Bara, Attika, Arwa, Umayma, and Safiya, R.A. Hazrat Abdullah's mother was Fatima, the daughter of Amr bin Aid bin Imran bin Maqsam bin Yaqsa bin Murrah. Among Abdul Muttalib's children, Abdullah was the most handsome, virtuous, and beloved. He was also called Zabi, the sacrificial one, because Abdul Muttalib had vowed that if Allah blessed him with 10 sons who reached adulthood, he would sacrifice one of them in the way of Allah. Allah accepted his prayer, and when all 10 sons reached adulthood, Abdul Muttalib remembered his vow. He gathered his sons and went to the Kaaba to perform the sacrifice. When the lot was drawn, it fell to Abdullah. Abdul Muttalib then headed towards the sacrificial place with Abdullah. Seeing this, the people of Banu Hashim, who were very fond of Abdullah, became distressed and advised him to seek the counsel of a woman in Yathrib who was known for her wisdom. When consulted, the woman suggested that instead of sacrificing Abdullah, a blood ransom, diya, be paid. In the Arabian tradition, the ransom was 10 camels, so a draw was held for 10 camels. The drawing continued until, on the 10th draw, the camels were chosen instead of Abdullah. Thus, 100 camels were sacrificed in place of Abdullah. Hazrat Abdullah married Hazrat Amina, daughter of Wahb bin Abd Manaf bin Zurah bin Kilab, who was considered the noblest woman of the Quraysh in terms of lineage and status. Her father was the leader of the Banu Zurah tribe. She moved to Mecca after the marriage, but shortly thereafter, Hazrat Abdullah was sent by Abdul Muttalib to bring dates from Medina. He fell ill during the journey and passed away there. Some historians say that Hazrat Abdullah went to Syria for trade and, on his return journey with a Quraysh caravan, fell ill and died in Medina. His burial took place at the house of Nabiga Jadi. He was 25 years old at the time of his death. Most historians agree that the Prophet was not yet born, but some sources say that the Prophet was born 2 months before his father's death.